David, I'd like to, if we can, get an overview of the 7 management rewards, because the actual 7 rewards are the word rewards.
Yeah,
and then after that, I'd like to kind of dip into each one as we go. So can you give us an overview of the 7 management rewards to becoming, or principle, if you will, for becoming a top 10 manager?
Yeah, the first one is reconnaissance, or recon as the military calls it. Did you read Jim Collins' book, Good to Great?
No, I haven't yet. No, I haven't yet.
In essence, what Jim says, I'll capsulate it for you. Encapsulate it. He says, make sure you have the right people on your bus. You will never be any better than your people are better. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you got crappy people, you got a crappy foundation. And one of the things it says in the Bible, here I am at the beach. One of the things is don't build your house on the sand. Well, if you have a pretty sorry team, someone who's undermining everything you do or has a bad attitude and makes life at the office miserable, they got to go, buddy. The second one is education, which we just talked about. That's the E. And the W is winners emerge. Once you're in the book clubs and you show people exactly what it is that you want to accomplish there, your mission there as a company, taking care of our clients, you want to make sure that those people buy into your dream, to your vision. So your winners will step forward. They'll show themselves in the book clubs. That's one of the reasons that I love the book clubs. So occasionally what we do is we ask our employees, who would like to lead the book club next week? You know, I like my managers to rotate doing it. Now, when I'm in town, and I told you I travel 20 to 22 weeks a year, of course, being up at my beach house is one of those. You know, I count that as time. Because even though I'm about 40 minutes from the office, I don't go in. You know, if they need me, they can call me. But I'm up here hanging with my family and friends, that kind of thing. But during the book club meetings, those people step forward. So we test them as far as talking in front of people, you know, their other employees. We test them as far as giving them small tasks to see how competent they are and how dedicated they are to making sure they deliver. Because you know as well as I do, if I give you a task and it's a minor task, but you don't do it, I'm rarely going to go back to you and give you something else to do. A good illustration of that is one of my employees named Devin. He said, Dave, I'm interested in doing graphics. I said, okay, look, I bought these different graphics courses, Devin, and I gave him access to them online. And I said, if you're really interested in going and learn the stuff, and if you learn how to do all these different things, then I will create a position for you to do solely but nothing but graphics, if you really love it that much. And he said, okay. So at night, he did all that kind of stuff, learned it, sent me samples of his work, videos he'd done, that kind of thing. And then I said, because here's a principle I tell my employees. I said, you do not go to the fireplace and say, give me heat, Dan, and I'll give you wood. You do not go to the field, a wide open field, and go out there and say, give me crops, then I'll give you some seeds. So I paid Devin not one dime when I gave him access to those courses. And you could say, well, Dave, if he was going to spend his time doing it, Dan, he had to put the wood in the fireplace first. And he had to prove to me he was committed, that he really wanted to do it. Now, as of the beginning of this year, he has his dream. I'm paying him more than he's ever made. And now he's getting the heat. He's giving me the heat, so I gave him some more, money. Yeah. Let's be careful how we say give him the wood. So he's immensely happy. He's doing what he loves. I gave him the opportunity. Yeah, I sit here. Yeah.
I just got it.
Yeah, well, I was about to say it and I caught myself, and then you just got it. Okay, but that's it. I give my winners time and opportunity to step forward. I've had other people I've given that same type of opportunity to, and they have not come through. So they did not put the wood in the fireplace. So I did not give them the heat, which is the money. Now, the next one after winners emerge is A, which is attitude. And, I almost hesitated to use that as part of my acronym. It's one of my principles. But you know what, man? You go back to people like Zig Ziglar and all these guys, the personal development guys, and they all, without exception, it's almost the very first thing out of their lips is attitude. The first chapter in one of my mentors and friend Tony Zeiss, Dr. Tony Zeiss. He's the president of the largest community college network in the country, in the U.S., and it's Central Piedmont Community College in Charlotte. And he wrote a book called The 12 Rules of Becoming Indispensable. And just so you know, that's the very first book that I bought for my employees. The very first chapter is on attitude. And it sets the tone of what is acceptable and what isn't. You know, I recently had to let somebody go who'd been with me for a great day, 10 years. She was a great employee for many years. But her marriage fell apart. Her only son turned into a derelict. And she started dating a guy who was really bad for her. And her attitude started going in the toilet completely. So because like I said about empathy and compassion, we wanted to find out what the problem was. So I had her manager sit her down and talk with her. I talked with her. And she would straighten up for a little while, and then she just became bitter. And every Christmas, I always have a big Christmas party for my employees and their spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. And she actually proceeded to badmouth me at our Christmas party in December. She was badmouthing me about our book club because she said she didn't think it was right that Dave Long required his employees to read a book on their time. So she didn't like that. Now, you know as well as I do, and you and I both read a lot. The average American, and probably the same for a Canadian, they don't read a book a year, man. So when I make them read, oh, and by the way, a chapter a week, you might, on a lengthy chapter, spend a half hour. The average person spends about 5 to 6 hours a day watching TV, Dan.
Yep.
You know, and you know as well as I do, you're not getting anything out of entertainment tonight or, you know, any of that crap.
Mm-hmm. I look at it as more of you sacrifice one for the other. Do you want
Correct.
mindless time wasting, or do you want education that's going to, you know, dear friend of mine, Rico Rakowski, choice expert, he's created the philosophy, just two choices. Says, you know, you have a choice. In every given moment of your life, you have two choices. And is this choice I'm about to make going to positively influence and get me towards my goal, towards my dream, towards my true desires, or is that choice not?
Sure.
It's very simple. And, you know, you can sit there and watch 4 hours of TV a night and then complain the next morning because that proposal's not done. Or, you know, so yeah, go on. Sorry.
Prior, that was a good point. But like I said, we go on from winners to emerge to attitude. And attitude, you can't, once again, that bad foundation. So then we go to the R in rewards, second R, I should say. And that is recognition. I don't know if you've read anything that Gallup organization's written, but one stat that stands out in my mind right now as I think about it is the average employee last year, this is millions of people being surveyed, and millions of employees. The average one said that they didn't receive, 65% of them said they received absolutely no recognition from their manager in the last year. Man, that's pathetic. It really is. And that's indicative of a lot of the problem we have today between, if you want to call it, management and labor. That's why a lot of the companies are going overseas because of the division between the employees and management. Mm-hmm. And personally, that's one of the reasons I wrote the book. The underlying reason is that our country, America, is going to continue to go down. Less and less people are employed, more and more people are going on unemployment, and even more people go on disability because it never ends, like unemployment does. So there's a problem. It needs to be fixed. And that's one of the main reasons that I wrote the book. When we get back to the R on recognition, if they don't get it from you, by the way, your top people, 47%, I think I may have said this earlier, 47% of your best people are looking to leave you if they don't get the recognition they want. Recognition doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Our average client of the 12,000 in the U.S. and Canada that we have, they might spend per location at the most $40 to $50 a month. Okay? Worst case scenario. Let's look what that represents. Dan, take your one employee in your company. One. If you have 50 employees, you probably got the best one. Imagine what your life would be if you lost that one. Any one of the top 10. How would that impact you? Would that be worth 50? Would that be worth $100, $200 a month to know you could keep those people? Just a no-brainer. What's to think about? There are a lot of things to think about. That's not one of them. And like I said before, it doesn't matter what you as a manager think about employee recognition. It matters what your people think. That's all. Bottom line. Because you know this, your employees' perception of how you care about them or don't care about them is their reality. It doesn't matter what you say, it matters what you do. So recognition is huge. And then we go to the D, which is duplication. Once you found out who your winners are, you start duplicating more of them. I spend more quality time with my winners. They get a lot of Dave time, as they call it. And I'll take them out to eat. I just randomly grab 4 or 5 of them and say, let's go. I might take an entire department out to eat, which I do. I might take out, which I take out my managers, by the way. Typically, when I'm in town, I take them out 2 to 3 times a week. Now, you'll have some people, and I pay for that, by the way. They don't pay for anything. You have some people, some companies that will say, well, I'm not going to pay that bill for lunch. Let me tell you why that's a stupid thing to think. I've got some of my employees that are, all these management team that I have are all 6 figures, all of them. An hour of their time is a substantial amount of money. And when I take them out to eat, we typically take an hour and a half going back and forth, eating and everything else. So I've got an hour and a half of their time for the price of a meal. And we brainstorm, we talk about situations, we bond, we become a stronger team. And as Ken just found out when he came, my publisher, he sees how loyal my people are to me and how much they care about me. First of all, loyalty starts with you, the owner of the business, the manager. If you do not prove, and I mean prove, not talk, give lip service to, I mean prove to your employees that you are loyal to them and care for them, they will not be loyal, nor will they care about you. So that's duplication. You find those people and you build on it. In the book, I talk about my shark's teeth rule, I should say, a process of building people. And I live at the ocean. And I said in the book, I've become up close. I used to surf for many years. Got a bad knee now. I can't do it anymore. But I used to surf for many years. And the only day I ever skipped school, I ended up paddling. I was out there swimming, out in the water with my best friend. Beautiful day, incredible waves, just gorgeous. And we've been out there and we've been riding all kinds of waves. And I was exhausted, so I'm like, I'm going to do 1 or 2 more. So I'm paddling out, and I was so exhausted. I was just paddling hard, and I went like this, and I raked my hand down, and my 2 fingers on the end of my hand went up on the fin of the shark who came up to check me out. And it scared me so bad, I raised my legs up, and I was just seeing my hands out of the water. And I was like, oh, dear Lord. It's like right next to me. And I was traumatized. I was scared. And my right leg cramped up. So you want to talk about some agony. I'm there, and I'm waiting. It was like took forever for another wave to come. And I waited until I got there, and I paddled like an idiot. And I rode all the way until I was like bellying on the sand. I didn't want to get in because he was right next to me. That was a little scary. But anyway, that wasn't in my book. I just threw that out for the good part of it. But anyway, so duplication. The reason I brought up the shark story is because sharks have teeth, that they have teeth, rows of teeth. And when they pop up, and let's say I'm grabbing after a seal or something like that as a shark, and one of my teeth gets yanked out, another one pops up behind it. There's rows of them. You can usually see 4 or 5 of them. If you look at a picture, I actually put a picture in my book showing that. Well, here's the deal. I constantly ask my managers. For example, my COO, Adam Tart's been with me 17 years. He's my right arm. I talk about him in the book. He gives his story. God forbid if something happened to Adam. But I always have to ask Adam, out of the entire company, if you drop dead, God forbid, son, or you were, I'm paying for his MBA, by the way. Just starting that next 2 months from now. I said, son, if a plane went down and something happened to you or you became incapacitated in some way, who do you say should be the person to take your place? And I ask my people that all the time, and I expect an answer because I want to know. And when they recognize that individual, whoever that person is, we immediately start bringing that person into our confidence. We immediately start giving them tasks to do, like with Devin, remember on the graphics? Learn how to use all that. We give them something small without any pay. All of a sudden, they become like an assistant manager without the title. We also want to check their how proud they are. If their pride's going to be an issue. If they can't do anything without the title being adjusted, no thanks. So we give them those things to do. And when they start building, they show what they can do, and they can validate our suspicions, if you will, or our hunches about them. Then we give them more and more to do. So we build them. And then, which is what happened at the beginning of this year, one of my salespeople, David Strange, who I mentioned, actually his story's in my book. He was our top salesperson for 4 years in a row. And what happened was one of the managers in another department dropped the ball. And we did not have anybody in that department that we felt was competent to do the job. So we offered that job to David Strange. And he took it, Dan. He wanted so much to be a manager in our company. He took top salesperson now. He made about $197,000 last year. He said, Dave, and I told him, I said, his name's David Strange. I said, Dave, you're going to have to take a pay cut. I'm not going to pay you that coming out of the gate. I said, you may earn that in a year or two, but coming out of the gate, son, you're not going to make $197,000. I said, you're going to take about $50,000 pay cut, son. Do you want to be a manager in this company? He said, absolutely. He didn't want to think about it. That's pretty strong. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree.
It says something. So basically, he walked away from 25% of his income. Now, I will say this. He listens to me, so he's in great financial shape. So he's been with me 4 years, and he's been a top salesperson. But because he was groomed, because he was ready, and he read a lot of stuff on his own, when the opportunity came in another department he knew nothing about. Do you understand that? It doesn't matter. You can learn the aspects of a position, but it's hard to groom something that is not there. If the work ethic is not there, if the loyalty is not there, if the desire to be better tomorrow than you were today is not there, it doesn't matter. I will never, ever again promote an individual who does not do all that on their time first. But I pay my people very well, so they want to get into that management chair, I assure you. So the last one, after the duplication, building your people in the shark's teeth, the shark's teeth system that I use, development system. The last one is success. And the thing about success, that was another one I almost said, let me pick another S instead of success. But really when it all comes down to it, we all think of success as something different. I've been blessed. The good Lord's blessed me. I'm multi-millionaire many times over. I own a 20,000 square foot office building that my company is in. We use every inch of it. I have 16 acres there for future expansion. We're going to probably build. I don't think we'll start it by the end of this year. We might, depending on how we do. But we keep investing in more equipment. By the way, all the equipment, lasers, color printers, these things typically cost each about $65,000. We've got, between all those, we've probably got a conservative number of 15 of those times that amount. We just ordered 3 more lasers about a week or two ago. We're going to order 2 more color printers. All these things are very expensive. Everything, all the desks, everything in my company, I don't know a dime on. I'm completely debt free. I lost everything, Dan. So I know what that feels like. I am debt averse. I don't like that. Not only that, here's another thing. This proves my loyalty to my people. Think of all the people out there that run companies, their own company or whatever, a company, big company they work as a manager for. They're so heavily indebted that when things take a dive, as they did in 2008, a lot of managers, middle managers, employees were laid off. Think of someone in retail. Great day. You can pick any retail company just about. They laid off people by the boatload. So success to me is not, and I brought all that up because I want to say, success to me is not money. Someone asked me recently, and this proves it as well, and I get business brokers calling me all the time, people want to buy my business, and they want, I shoot them down. They go, well, you haven't even heard the offer yet. I don't care. I had one of my good friends, who John Carn, is actually in the book. His story is in there, talking about our mastermind group. And John asked me one time in our mastermind, he said, Dave, he said, if somebody came up to you and offered you $10 million to your company, would you take it? I didn't bat an eye. I said, no stinking way. He said, what? He says, you're only doing $8 million. I said, I don't care. I said, I'm going to do more next year, more after that, more after that. And I said, I'm not in it for the money. So he said, okay. He said, somebody offer you 20 million? And I'm going to be honest with you, Dan. I said, no. That's how long I thought about it.
Let me think about it. No.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because I love what I do. I love the people I do it with. And I tell people when they come to work for me, it's another thing too. And this is another part of being successful. You have the option to do this. Is when they come in, I say, Dan, if you came to work for me, I say, Dan, here's the deal. I don't care if you come in and make me $1 million. If my other people in this company can't stand you, you're gone. Let me tell you how I proved that a few years ago. Before David Strange became our top salesperson, I had a lady who was our top salesperson. And I really cared a lot about her. But attitude started going bad. And she started biting people's heads off at our company. So she was getting married. So I actually had our managers, one of them particularly, actually two of them, pull her aside and say, I'm not going to say her name, I don't embarrass her. Let's just call her Pam. Pam, wouldn't you know there's a lot of people saying that you're biting their heads off and you're really irritable? And we wanted you to know that's a bad thing. Is it because you're planning your wedding and you're stressing out over that? Oh, my soul, she went ballistic. I happened to be on vacation. Imagine that, right? 20, 22 weeks a year, I'm gone sometimes. But I was out in California. Pardon me. I was at Yellowstone National Park, riding my wife and I riding our Harleys out there. And they called me up and told me, said, Dave, we went and talked to her, and she got really upset, and she just ran from her sales manager's office to the other corner, back corner of the building, to where my COO, Adam's office was, Adam Tart. And she went in and she blasted him, said how insensitive her manager was, how insensitive this company was, and all this. And so when they called me and said, Dave, this is what happened, I said, okay, look, our conscience is clean. We've already talked to her several times. That was the final straw. Let her go. Now, she was our top salesperson, Dan. Top salesperson. She at the time was making about $150,000 a year. Substantial amount of money, not chump change. In North Carolina, the average income here is about $40,000. So almost 4 times. But I said, let her go. And even one of them, actually my COO, Adam, said, she's our top salesperson, Dave. You really want to do that? I said, absolutely. I meant what I said. I want the other people. We're going to use this as a teaching moment for other people. Don't get too big for your britches. Don't start acting like yours, pardon me, doesn't stink anymore. You know? And I want to make sure that your people that you work with, the other teammates you have, do not resent coming to work every day. Because all it takes is one of those people to do that.
Create a virus in the company.
It would be. And I'm not going to tolerate that. What's that, who is it, Donny Osmond or somebody? Or Michael Jackson, one bad apple spoils a whole bunch. It does. It does. So eliminate it. So that's part of being successful too, is you don't have to put up with that kind of junk. Because it's not about just your success as a business owner or a business manager or department manager or a CEO of the company. It doesn't matter. It matters what the people think throughout the ranks. If they're not happy, they will leave. Do you know when the number 1 day of the week for heart attacks is, Dan?
Monday?
Right.
Is
Guess
it?
what part? Yeah. Guess what part of Monday? Monday.
Monday morning.
Bingo. Why is that?
I think it's because the anxiety of people going to work.
That's exactly right.
Hey, and I knew none of this. Like, everybody watching, we didn't plan this going in. Right. I knew none of this.
We're winging on. We're winging
Batman power. Batman power.
Batman power. That's right. So anyway, it was a decision that hurt financially for a little while. But here's what happened. This happens all the time when we do something like this, and it's the same in any company. I don't care who you are. When you have to let somebody go who's a real pain in the butt, all of a sudden you got people coming out of the woodwork going, thank you, Dave, for letting her go or letting him go. They were making my life or my people's life a miserable, occurrence every day. She bit so-and-so's head off and that kind of thing. We had no less than 5 people come forward and say, thank you. I like working here again. And I'm going like, what? Send me a text, do anything, tell your manager. That's a problem. If we don't hear the communication, we don't know what to do. But you want to have, even with the relationship that I have with my people and my managers have with their people, that happens once in a while, Dan. And you have to keep your finger on the pulse within your department, within your company. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. So success to me is not, bottom line, not money. Success is being happy at what you do. And when I say, people say, well, Dave, you wouldn't take 20 million? No, I would not. The reason is if it took 20 million, what am I going to do, Dan? I love what I do now. If I don't love what I do, that money's not going to mean anything to me. How many people have you heard about that have millions and millions and millions of dollars, and their kids hate them, their dog hates them? I mean, how bad is that? I mean, nobody wants to be around them. And they die in their old age. They left money. You can't take that with you. So you build the relationships, whether it be your family, your friends, or your co-workers or whatever. That's true success. My dad was a Baptist preacher, and he retired. He passed away last year. And my dad wrote, they gave me a Bible when I graduated high school. And in it, my father wrote, he said, D.L. Moody, who was an old-timey evangelist. My wife, hey, coming off the beach, sorry. He wrote in the Bible, it says, D.L. Moody, an old-time evangelist, said, success is finding the will of God for your life and doing it. Anything else, you won't be happy. So if I'm doing something else that doesn't make me happy, money is no substitute. Let me tell you what money is. Money is a tool. Money is nothing but a way to gauge and to keep score, some people say. But it does not determine happiness. Period. If that's your goal and you hit it, you're going to be miserable. And it's very disheartening when you set your goal for something, like a great vacation, and you go and it rains all the whole time, or something like that. So if you set your mind that money is going to be the key to my happiness, you will be disillusioned when you get there. It is not that. Someone said, success is not the destination, it's what? You know what it is? I know you do. It's the journey. It's the journey. So I have my journey with my people. And everybody who watches your show or listens to it, they have people. If they're a manager, they're probably going to be listening to it. So they're gonna have relationships, and they're gonna build that. How happy are they? Why are they not happier? To make people happy around you. Zig Ziglar said this: if you want to get what you want in life, you must first help other people get what they want. And if you do not deliver to them, they will not deliver to you. If you are not loyal to them, they will not be loyal to you. That is my thing on success. That's the seven principles.